Good morning. My name is Ryan. This is my shop. Today I'd like to show you how to change the tire on a bicycle. First off, we'll take the wheel off the bike. For this, you're going to need probably 15mm wrench or a 14mm wrench depending on what size axle nut you have. Alternatively, your bicycle might have a quick release axle in which you will just need to pop the lever and pull the wheel off. On some bicycles, you'll have to undo the brakes. This is done by simply loosening the barrel adjuster on the brake lever. Barrel adjuster looks like this. It's a round adjustable screw. You can twist it to tighten or increase the brake lever tension. So you want to screw that in clockwise as far as it'll go. That will give you some looseness in your brakes. Then you will go down to the bottom and undo this from one side. That'll open your brakes up. So on this particular bike, we have a 15mm axle nut. Let's see, make sure you're in frame here. Okay, good. So do that by holding the wheel and loosening this nut on this side. Just want to get it loose, then with fingers tighten it back up again. Then you're going to go to the other side and loosen this nut. See, this is the reason why you have to finger tight this nut again in order to get this one off. These both nuts screw onto the same axle, and so when you try to loosen one, the other one needs to be tight, otherwise it just spins. There we go, got that one off. Now loosen this one. You have to loosen these nuts up a little bit. Sometimes there's some washers with tabs that hook into the forks. Then the wheel comes right off. Alright, next. If your tire is already flat, you won't need to do this step. But for this example, I'm using a tire with still some pressure in it. So I will take my tire pressure gauge, and on the back of it, it has a little nub. You can use your fingernail or a bolt with a flat end on it, or a sheetrock screw, or something that you can push that gently up to release the air pressure. It just takes a few seconds for the pressure to release. Once you hear the pressure start to release enough that you can squeeze the tire, you go around and loosen the tire off of the rim. There's a seat, a little lip edge inside that the tire will sit on. So go around, loosen the tire up off the edge of the rim till it's loose all the way around. After you've loosened it up all the way around, you can pull the tire back a little bit. When you do this, you'll see the edge of the tire can be pushed over the edge of the rim. This is often the case for mountain bikes and for 20-inch BMX and performance trick bikes or children's bikes. For road bikes, you often will have to use a tire iron. And they come in a variety of shapes and sizes, but often look something like this. In a pinch, you can use butter knife out of your kitchen drawer, though make sure to ask before you do. This tire iron is then inserted under the lip of the tire. You want to be careful not to pinch the tube on the inside, as it will get pinched between the tire iron and the edge of the tire and sometimes can put a hole in it. You take the first tire iron and put it like this, securing the end of the tire iron around the spoke. And then you go ahead about 4 to 6 inches using the second iron, lift the edge of the tire over the rim. Then move ahead another 4 to 6 inches and lift the edge of the tire over the rim. At this point, you should be able to use the end of your tire iron or your butter knife and move it gently around the rim of the tire. This will pull the edge of the tire over the rim, exposing the inner tube. Here you can see the tire's been pulled off the edge of the rim. The inner tube here can then be removed. When you get to this valve stem, you'll have to pull the tire away and expose the whole tube, and then your tube should just come out like so. At which point you'll want to remove the tire completely from the rim to do a check to make sure that there's no thorns or nails or sticks or rocks on the inside of your tire. And you can do this by gently feeling, though be careful, for if there is a screw, it could be sharp. Feeling and looking around the inside of your tire. By doing this, you'll find if there's anything in there that could cause a puncture. Take a quick look. If everything looks okay, then go ahead and take a look at your rim. As you can see, there is a strip that travels around the center of the rim, and on this rim it is made of rubber. This can be replaced if it is missing. Often they will be cracked or dry or have moved to the side, exposing the tips of each spoke. Those can be sharp and can cause a puncture themselves. So you want to make sure you always have some sort of rim strip. If the one on your rim is missing or is damaged, vinyl electrical tape can be used as a replacement, one layer all the way around, or athletic cloth tape can be used as well. They do sell these rubber rim strips. Typically they come with your tube. So after ensuring you have a rim strip in place, you get your new tube, inflate it to such a point that it stands on its own. You're going to take your tire and you're going to make sure that your tire doesn't have a direction of rotation. This tire that I'm installing does not have a direction of rotation, but if it does, make sure to install it so as when the tire is installed on the bike, it will rotate in the proper direction. So you're going to go ahead and take and place one edge of the rim of the tire onto the rim and go around with your thumbs and slide it onto the rim. And you'll see I have the ability to open up and fit the tube into that space. Take this tube with the valve stem in your hand and you pull the tire away from the rim, exposing the hole for the valve stem. At this point you can insert that into the hole, the valve stem into the hole, and then pull your tire around your tube. Making sure to take care not to pinch. As you can see, the tube, the light is terrible. The tube here has to go through the rim strip under the tire, and the tire will sit beside it. Then on this side, we go ahead and we'll go around, slowly pushing the tube into the tire. Once you have that all the way around inside, you can, starting at the valve stem, using your fingers, pull and get the bead of the tire to fall over the edge of the rim. Shouldn't be any trouble getting this to start, but as you get further around the rim, it will get tighter and tighter until you get to the opposite side. At this point, on a mountain bike tire or on a 20-inch tire such as this, you often are able to do this by hand by just pulling this rim up and over, slowly working it side by side. If you cannot do that, then we have to use the tire irons again, at which point you go around and use the tire iron as a lever to slowly work the edge over. The trick in this is not to get a pinch. Be very careful and work slowly. Once you have the tire seated all the way around into the rim, you'll need to inflate the tire. If you have a compressor available, it's the easiest method. If not, a bicycle pump will do just fine. Take your valve stem. Make sure that the valve stem is perpendicular to the rim of the tire. You don't want it leaning left or right or forward or back. That indicates that the tube is improperly seated. Using one hand, pull out the stem a little bit and push it to the side with your finger. That holds it against the rim and it holds it extended. At which time you can take your inflator and attach it to the end of the valve stem. You want to inflate to such point where the tire has some firmness but is not at full pressure. At this point, you will then go around and visually inspect the edge of the rim. you'll see that there is a line along the bead right here, and that line has to be above the edge of the rim all the way around. And if you spin the rim, you can examine and see that the line is above the edge of the rim all the way around. That tells you the tire is properly seated on the rim. If you encounter a tire that is having some difficulty seating, a little bit of dish soap and water, soapy water, all the way around the rim, and then inflate it to full pressure. The soapy water will help the tire to slide up the rim and seat properly. After that inspection, go ahead and get your inflator and inflate the tire to full pressure. Check to see if you're at full inflation pressure. I'm at 35 pounds for this tire. It's a 40-pound tire. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go up another 5 pounds. £40. Again, we'll spin the rim. Make sure that my tire is seated, that bead line is right along the edge of the rim on both sides, that there aren't any bubbles or wrinkles in the tube or tire. And then it's time to reinstall the tire onto the bicycle. To do that, you make sure you have your direction of rotation proper if you have a directional bead tire. I'm going to take the wheel, and using these little locating tabs that go into the holes on the forks. You locate the wheel in the forks, locate our tabs in the holes, and then go ahead and finger tight the 15mm bolts, nuts, onto your axle. Then, looking to the edge of the rim up along the forks, you want to make sure that your rim is centered between the forks. If it is so, then go ahead and tighten down one side. And you may have to tighten down both sides incrementally in order to get them to lock in. Once both sides are tightening appropriately, give it a good tighten. You do not want to over tighten these, but that's difficult to do. So, in most cases, a good solid wrench will make it nice and tight. Give your wheel a spin, see how it looks. Take your bike out for a little test drive. Make sure it doesn't feel soft or bumpy or uneven or bouncy. And that is how you change the tire on your bicycle. Thank you so much. Have a great day.